Hello! It is Friday, February 22nd, 2019. Got the year correct without guessing this time. Good job, me. And last time I streamed, I think was Monday, and on Monday we were working on this setup CFG format tool. And kind of the goal behind this tool is to take the old school setup.py, which, let me find an example setup.py, which a typical setup.py starts with some Python code, might do some reading of files off disk, and then calls this function, and the side effect of this function is it packages up your code for you. And this is kind of the old way to do things in a sort of way, and it has some downsides. Like, I'd like to be able to automatically modify some of these values and like make sure that these values are correct and synchronize this with the README and a bunch of other stuff. But it's really hard to do because rewriting code is not a super easy thing to do in Python. However, there's a new format, which is setup.cfg, and this tool here, setup.py upgrade, not to be confused with setup config format, setup.py upgrade will take a setup.py file and rewrite it as setup.cfg. And in the new format, you can have just this very simple two-line setup.py, no parameters get passed into the setup function, and you also end up with a metadata file that looks kind of like this. In fact, this is the converted metadata file for this setup.py that we saw here. And it contains all the same information, but the big plus side to this is setup.cfg is rewritable. It's data and not code. And so it's easy for one to load this file, modify some things, and write it back to disk, and still maintain the same content. And because of that, I wanted to write a tool that just formats these and like consistently produces a format, or like does some basic injection of data. Like you can see here, I don't have the license field or the license file field, which is useful for distributing your license inside your package. But I do have the license classifier. And so what I want to work on, and what I kind of did with setup CFG format, or one of the features of setup CFG format, is if there's a license file, it'll add these two fields. Well, it'll add this field no matter what. And if it detects licenses, it'll add this field and sometimes add the classifier. However, the code right now is kind of crappy because I wrote it quickly on stream last time, and what it currently does is it looks for this very specific string and then just assumes it's MIT, which is wrong in a lot of situations. And I mean, it's good enough for all of my projects because I always choose the same license when I license stuff, but it's not helpful generically. Like, someone else may want, I don't know, BSD1 clause or GPL or whatever they license their stuff under, and so this code doesn't really cut it generically. However, in order to do this generically, I need to be able to take a license file and guess, I guess is the best way to put it, like guess which license type it is. And GitHub already does this. So there's a, when you open up a repository, you'll see that it noticed that I have a license file here. It did some parsing of it, and it said, oh, you have the MIT license. And in fact, it even links to the file, which is pretty cool, but like tells you some basic stuff about the permissions, limitations, and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about reproducing all of this stuff. I just need to be able to read the file and kind of identify what type of license it is. And I did some research into this, so I googled the other day, what does GitHub use to identify licenses? And I landed on their blog post when they announced this little thing, and it turns out they use this Ruby gem called licensee, which I mean, this isn't a Ruby project, so I can't really depend on this. But given their license, which is also MIT, I can basically figure out how their code works and reproduce it in Python. And it turns out their code, well, I don't even need to read their code. I can just read the README and figure out how it works, because they've explained their algorithm completely right here. And it looks like their approach is to read the license file, strip out the copyright, stripping out white space, the copyright notice, checking if it's an exact string match to a bunch of known licenses, and if not, then they do like a text difference algorithm. I've never done text difference before, so this will be, I'll probably just either, I'll probably use a library for it, but if I can't find a library for it, I'll probably just write some cheap text comparison. I don't think I'll need any like fancy machine learning stuff for this, or I hope not. It's just going to be like edit distance and percentage of edit distance divided by the total length or something like that. And if it's close enough to 100%, then it's probably that license. But that's what I'm going to be working on today. I also maintain another library called Identify, with Chris, who is a really awesome guy if you ever get to meet him. But right now what Identify does is it's kind of like the file utility, except it does some other stuff. I wonder, does this know? No. Yeah, like file doesn't know how to parse licenses, so this will be a extension on that. But if we, I think I have Identify installed. Identify. Yeah, so like Identify will notice whether things are files or not, or whether they're executable, and uses some basic heuristics to guess the file types based on the file name, or if they're executables. So like we did this on which pre-commit? Oh, of course, it's a symlink. So if we look at this file, you'll notice that it has a shebang. If we actually dereference the symlink, readlink-f, Identify will know that it's Python and Python 3 despite this file not having an extension, and so that's kind of the selling point of Identify. But anyway, we're going to add an API, or I'm going to make a PR to add an API to Identify that identifies licenses, or at least that is the goal. So I've already cloned Identify, and I think we'll go from there. So the first thing that I'm going to need to do is get a bunch of sample licenses. The way, where is that? This one? Yeah. The way licensee, I hope I'm properly saying how they would pronounce it. The way licensee does it is by using choose a license, and they just kind of vendor their data here. Right here. And basically they just have the, I think it's YAML actually, the YAML data of their licenses here. And if I remember right, these are available in a GitHub repo, so we can just like write a script that will scrape these and go from there. Improve this page. Yes, that's what I want. Oh, and it's maintained by GitHub. What is the license of the... Okay, MIT license, so... I mean, copying and pasting license files doesn't seem that sketch, so... I think we'll be good there. Like it's in this licenses directory. And we can grab them from here. So I think the first thing that we'll do is write a script which just kind of grabs this and parses out the license name. And go from there. SPDXID. What is that? The SPDX license list is a list of commonly found licenses and exceptions used in free and open source and other software. Okay. Oh, there's so many licenses. I think we'll start by just using the short list of licenses that that Choose a License provides and go from there. Okay, so So I'll probably make a little script in a bin directory that we'll use to update the vendor licenses. Had to reopen the file so that the syntax highlighting applied. And we're gonna make this script just clone and check out master and grab these files, I guess. And if I remember right, this gets linted. Yeah, so this library supports both Python 2 and Python 3. And we run pre-commit as part of talk, so it'll run for each of the different programming, or each of the different versions of Python. So we'll have to make sure that this script here also supports Python 2, even though we won't use it for Python 2. Or we could exclude it, but it's probably easier to just make it support Python 2. Or syntactically support Python 2, because temporary directory is new in Python 3. So we don't really have a choice there. So we're just gonna do a clone into this directory. I guess you know what? This script doesn't have to be efficient, so let's just make it fast, or make it easier to understand. The fastest way to clone is one of the fastest way to clone is the way that pre-commit does it. Yeah, so you get init, you add the remote. Nope, that's not it. Oh, I have the right file. Clone. Okay, so you clone without checking out, and then you reset to a specific provision. There's a faster way now where you can do shallow fetches. Here we go. I think it's this one. Nope. Nope, not that either. Anyway, there's a new in like Git 2.5 you can fetch it with shallow, and then you don't get the full Git history, but it goes really fast, assuming the remote server supports it. But we don't really care about that, so it's fine. So we're going to clone chooselicense.com to our temporary directory. And then go from there. That script is not named well. Vendor licenses is probably a better name. So this is our temporary directory where we have this clone set up. And there's the licenses directory. And so from that, we want to basically scrape all the text out of them. And so from that, we'll... What? Why is there robots.txt? Okay, we'll have to ignore robots.txt. Because I assume this is not an actual license. Oh, I just grabbed the wrong directory. Okay, never mind. We don't have to worry about robots.txt. But yeah, we'll grab this SPDX ID and then the contents of the license. Have you used Django? I used Django a very, very long time ago. Thank you, CodeCane, for following. It's kind of a punny name. Yeah, I've used Django a long time ago. When was the last time I used Django? Let's see, do I have... Let me see if I still have the Django code I wrote. But the last time I used Django, it targeted Python 2.4. Which was really old. 23 Gator. Is this the back end or the front end? I forget. Oh yeah, Greater Django. Maybe not actually the Django stuff. Nope. Well, that's some jank code. I don't know that I wrote that. aglib. I guess not. I don't have the code for it anymore. But the last Django app I maintained was a grader for a intro to programming course that I taught in college. Do I still have access to it? I don't remember the URL. But anyway, it's been a very long time. I thought Django was alright. There were parts of it that I wasn't super happy with. Like the way you kind of set up a settings file that just kind of like hand-wavy magic makes all of the things hook up kind of irked me. The ORM was pretty cool. But like depending on the project, it was either like super overkill or got in the way more often than not. I don't know, that part's kind of nice. The templating is alright. The web framework itself is okay too. Like I don't have any problems with Django. I just personally, if I was gonna write a web project, I wouldn't pick Django as my first choice. I would probably go with something a little simpler, like I don't know, Flask, or probably Flask. I think most of my like I need to make a web app, I usually just reach for Flask and it gets what I need to get done. But yeah, I've used Django before. Let's see, let's get back to trying to parse these licenses. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna set the code up for this. My guess is that I'll just splat these into a file and go from there, because otherwise I have to deal with like packaging resources and all of that shenanigans, and it's probably easiest for me to just put them into a file. So that's what I'm going to attempt. Like write out some like code gen kind of deal. Cool. Underscore licenses. Oh, I guess we should honor this. This revision argument that I'm never going to use, but it's there anyway. Get capital C. So this will just force it to check out whatever revision that I've set up here. Oops. Oh look, it's one line shorter. Good job, me. Okay, so now I'm gonna breakpoint at this and kind of inspect that. Oh, why did I open all these files? Bin vendor licenses. Oh, I forgot dash dash. I know how to use Git, right? Nope. What is the command for that? I guess I'll look at pre-command. Git reset ref dash dash hard. Is that not what I have? Alright, we'll try that then. Maybe the no checkout actually makes a difference here. But we can actually use this to only check out the files we care about. Which will make it slightly faster, I guess. But now I've switched back to this form. Confused why that is not working. Maybe I want checkout and not reset. There's no hard for checkout though. One of these times I'll remember the difference between reset and checkout. Okay. It's enough guessing. We're gonna put a breakpoint and run the actual command. didn't check out master licenses. Oh, the default branch is GitHub pages. Okay, we'll just use head as the default. Okay, debug again. Forgot to import OS. Linter told me it's good now, except for this unused assignment and this dox statement. But okay. Alright, so we have contents now. Looks like we ended up with the WTFPL. Did this actually split it to the contents that we want? So this has the data, and this has the license itself. Yeah, we'll parse this data probably. Data.splitlines. Oh, we don't have data, right. All these lines, and we want to find this. That gets us that. SPDX equals so we're gonna strip off this prefix. Kind of a janky parsing here. I could use YAML, but then I have to add a dependency to the script, and I don't really want it. It's a one-off script, so who cares if it's hacky? I guess. SPDX and license text. So that should parse all the licenses. Put some quiet on this. Cool, so these are all of the SPDX IDs that we were able to load. They're in a random order because we're using Lister here, and Lister is based on inode order, or I guess it's undefined behavior, but it's usually based on inode order. So these are random, so we'll have to sort these licenses before we write. Well, we don't have to sort, but it's probably better to sort. So let's do that next. I'm trying to think of like what format I want to store them in. I'm thinking that we'll make output that eventually looks like this. So you'll have like licenses is equal to a bunch of tuples where we have like the SPDX ID, so like WTFPL, and then a triple quoted string literal. That's the license contents here. And then we'll just have a bunch of those inside this tuple here, and we'll be able to iterate through them. So I'm going to try and produce that as code. It's probably going to be easier right now just to print it out, and we'll figure out where that file will go later. Triple quoted string there with our backslash. The end of the triple quoted string, and yeah, my editor has no idea what to do with this, which is fine. And I guess a comma. Of that tuple, and then at the end we'll end all of the tuples, and so that should in theory produce code. If I didn't have a syntax error. Two syntax errors. I know how to write code, right? Okay, so it did produce licenses. They all seem to start with a new line, which is fine. Some of them end with a new line. Maybe all of them end with a new line. Can improve on that. Oh, I also don't need new lines here. Because print will add a new line for me. Why is that there? Oh. Great. And I'm just gonna hope that none of these licenses contain 3 single quotes in them, because otherwise they'll break my string literals. Probably fine. I guess we can write it out to a file and then load that file and see if it's syntactically correct. Indentation contains tabs. Oh, dang it. Why is this spaces, but this is a tab? We're gonna replace tabs with spaces. Replace tab with space. And trailing white spaces. Any other trailing white space? Oh, there's curly quotes. Dang it. Gotta love it, yeah. Curly quotes, trailing white space, all kinds of trash in this. Oh, now we're 81 characters over. Just replace that. That's lint now, maybe? Line too long. 3038. Yeah, in fact, that line is too long. Why is that line so long? Oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I guess we'll just ignore Flake8 in this file. It'd be nice if I could, I guess I could like know which lines are too long and no QA those. Or ignore it from, like, exclude it from pre-commit is probably fine. But this looks good enough. Some kind of crappy code gen. We're only failing line too long, so I think that's good enough. Let's add a little doc string that shows how you're supposed to use this. I guess we'll just write it out to identify/licenses.py. Cool. Now we have our licenses. 6,700 lines of licenses. Maybe I should put it, I mean, it's kind of vendored, so maybe... Yeah, I'm gonna make a vendor directory. And pre-commit should fail because of... Oh. That makes sense. Okay, so we'll add feature imports to this script. It's probably a good idea anyway. So now it's probably just going to fail Flake8. It's fine. And we can use a pre-commit feature to exclude identify/vendor. Or we can just exclude it from Flake8. Probably better to just do it here. Licenses.py. So we can exclude just this specific file. Okay, cool. So lint is passing. We have our license file. Now we just need to implement our function. Test license identification. So our simple test is just going to be our, we'll probably just test our own license. What are the APIs here? Tags from... How about license type? Or identify.license. That's a built-in. Can't use that. License ID. It's probably okay. Thank you, JAL97, for following. Every follow counts. So this will be our kind of smoke test. And it should be failing because we haven't really implemented much of it yet so far. And we, of course, don't have that yet because we haven't implemented it. What was that? SPDIX? What was it? SPDX. You're the maintainer of a couple libraries, right? Yes. Yes, I am. Let me show which ones I am. User Acetilly. So the ones that you've probably heard of are Flake 8. Maybe you've heard of Precommit. This is one of my cooler projects, PyUpgrade. Identify is what I'm working on right now. I have a couple code formators like @trailing_. This is one of my favorite tools. It's a distributed repository rewriter thing. Dead is a dead code detection. It doesn't show PyTest on this list, but I'm a maintainer of PyTest as well. I'm also a maintainer of Tox. I have some fun stuff like future f-strings, which backports some features to older versions of Python. I'm a maintainer of the Python bindings for libsass. What else we got here? More Precommit stuff. Precommit is my main project that I probably spend most of my time on. Yeah. A bunch of other, like, tangentially related stuff. But that's that. One of my Pythoning so I'm trying to write a license identification library to make my setup config formatter be able to do this without really jank code. This would be the type annotation. However, we don't have typing introduced in this library yet. We aren't using MyPy, so I'm going to skip that. I should put a link to what SPDX is. Wow, you got so much work to do. Yeah, I spend a lot of time in open source. Check out my green squares if my profile will load. Sometimes it doesn't load. We'll see if GitHub is being happy today. Yeah, but I have quite a few green squares, even in nope, not print. Control-Shift-N. But just look at my open source squares in a private tab. I have quite a few. So I don't know, 4,600 contributions in the last year. Some of them are automated. Like this day, most of these 228 were automated. Where I did stuff like use a script to automatically upgrade versions. But most of my contributions are actually real, despite these 200. But yeah, we're gonna figure out some licenses. SPDX ID. I feel like I'm gonna typo the word license over and over and over. Over and over and over and over. No way you're outsourcing yourself to India. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something? We're gonna assume that the licenses are UTF-8. So the first thing we're going to do is strip the copyright line. That's always going to be different. We're going to then normalize white space. Shite space. So we're going to normalize all white space characters to a single space. So any new line will become just a single space. Check exact text match with existing licenses. And then failing that, use a similarity comparison and do which one. I don't know which one we'll use. The library I'm basing this on uses the, what was it called? Nope, not that one. Was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. It uses a thing called, oh, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. Sorensen dice coefficient? How do you say your name? Online text to speech. Okay, say it for me. Go.
Sorensen.
Okay. So the slash doesn't do anything.
Sorensen.
Thank you, English US Sharon. Oh, that actually reminded, I don't know why it reminded me of something. I saw this on Twitter today. This CodePen, which makes a pure CSS image. So apparently this down here is entirely CSS. So it's a little bit, well, I guess there's some HTML here. So there's HTML with a bunch of these I tags. And then no JavaScript, just some comments, no images, just CSS. And then 2,050 lines of CSS. Like, this is crazy. Like, this looks so good. But it's all done with CSS. Some people are nuts. I don't get it. I don't get how they do these things. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. how much of your time goes to learning new stuff and how much goes into real work? Well, I have a full-time job, so 40-ish hours of my week go to being a developer experience engineer at Lyft, where I work on infrastructure and tools that help developers be productive. So that's 40 hours of my week. For open source, like it's probably an hour or two a day, but I really enjoy doing it. So it's like I think it's fun. I don't think it's work. But I probably spend an hour or two a day, a little bit more on the weekends, and obviously more when I stream because I'm spending all that time just writing code. That said, like like how much of that time goes into learning new stuff. I think a lot of the open source stuff I work on, I am learning. Like I've never written something like this before, so in some ways I'm learning new things. Although sometimes it's just like regurgitating the same stuff over and over, but I think it's more fun when I'm working on stuff that I've never done before. Like I have no idea what I'm gonna do for number 4 here. Like I'm gonna have to figure out some way to do a similarity comparison. I've never done that before, so that'll be fun. Thank you, Emma ADG, for following. Every follow counts. And yeah, and streaming for me is just like another way to like talk about my code and like get a second or third or fourth opinion, or like show you guys how I think about stuff and like introduce you to tools that I work on and like approaches to development and stuff like that. And it's fun for me, so I enjoy doing it. But yeah, so the first task here is to strip the copyright line. I'm just gonna look through the licenses that we have. You're welcome. I just signed up to Twitch and stumbled on your stream. Well, welcome to Twitch, and thank you for following. We are the Rubber Ducks. Yes, you guys are pretty good rubber ducks. I remember probably, I think it was like 2 years ago, I was watching someone stream stuff and I was just thinking like, it must be weird to like sit in a room and kind of talk to yourself while doing things. And I don't know, the first couple streams for me, it definitely felt weird, like just sitting in a room talking to myself, but I'm more used to it now, and I feel like talking to chat is less strange, but it's kind of fun. These people are crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably some amount of crazy myself, so you know, what are you gonna do? Cool. So the first thing that we're gonna do is strip the copyright line. I'm gonna go through each of the licenses we have and see if there's anything common there, and we'll probably write some regular expression to strip that out. I'm not going to use my vendored file, but we'll loop through that later. GitHub choosealicense.com. Star.text. Okay, cool. So we're gonna have this format, obviously. I mean, I shouldn't say obviously, but it's the very first one that we have. Copyright RE. So I think this is what I'll start with. And as we go through each of these files, we'll find the other formats for these copyright lines. What this is going to match is, oh, we need to escape these parentheses. So one regex, 2 bugs. All right. Continue trying to look through the other files and see what we got here. I assume we'll also get like the Unicode character for copyright and other stuff as well. Does this one have copyright in it? It's also feel like some of these are going to be pretty long and we'll have to read through them all. This one doesn't seem to have a copyright line, so... Create a text file in the root of your code. Adjacent to the copyright notice. Okay, so there might be a copyright, but not one that I know. Oh hey, I got a subscription. That's new for me. Thank you, Mindful Fox, for subscribing. I don't have a thing to say for that, so just thank you. That's awesome. I'll have to come up with every subscription counts. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's so rare, but I should come up with something special for that. But now I have 3 subscribers. I think I know all 3 of them. Maybe? But yeah, I didn't get notifications for the other 2, so it's... I'm guessing at who they are. I think one of them is Ethan, and one of them is my friend David. But and you, of course, Mindful Fox. You can't go off brand, come on. Yeah, every subscription counts. There we go. Done. Mongo made up a new license, AGPL plus anti-software as a service. Fucking Mongo. Gotta ruin everything for everyone. Server-side public license. Frequently asked questions. Why are you changing the license? Is this basically so that they... Wait, are they gonna force all of the like hosted Mongo people out of the business, or like out of the market? Kind of shitty. Well, Mongo's shitty, so screw them. Thanks for everything, Anthony. You're very welcome. Welcome, Mindful Fox. Alright, another GNU license. They mad because AWS just renamed Mongo to sell it instead of hiring their software as a service. I mean, AWS tends to do that with basically every piece of technology. Gonna head out. Have a great night. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, and thanks for the subscription. Interesting that this has a copyright, but it lists a very specific organization. I don't know that that's actually going to... Like, I don't know whether something licensed under this, like, you modify this, or do you strip it, or... I think we're just gonna leave that. Although, this regex is going to kill this line. Oh, maybe not. Because there's one character of white space here, so this will not match it. But I'm sure we'll find some license or some white space here to make this regex have white spaces again. With their license, you can only buy the Mongo software as a service. That's so crappy. I mean, Dynamo is kind of a better product than Mongo anyway. Debian and Red Hat already dropped them. No surprise there. Like, Debian dropped VirtualBox just because they wouldn't send them patches. Like, Debian is very quick to drop people, and I don't blame and fully support Debian and Red Hat for dropping Mongo. Like, this SSPL is pretty crappy. I'm a huge proponent of permissive licenses myself. Let's see, is there a copyright notice in the Apache license? I guess I read the directions up here and see if there's a substitution. Note the Apache recommends adding the boilerplate to every single source file. Yeah. I think the Apache license is kind of a lot of work, because you have to have the boilerplate in all of your files. Okay, here's another copyright. So it looks like here this is optional. Although, if you make this optional, this is always going to match it. So maybe we just do this. We also have white space at the beginning. And now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure this is going to match like all of our copyright lines. But we'll go through the other 32 licenses and make sure that they're similar. Heavily favored by the Perl community. In the root of your source, copy the license. Do not replace the copyright notice, which refers to the license itself, not the licensed project. Okay. I mean, our code's gonna strip this. We'll make it strip it on both the left and right hand side too, so it's consistent at least. That. We have another copyright here, which will get matched by our regex still. This one gets matched too. And this one, Boost software license. That one's pretty simple. I read in some countries licenses like WTF-PL can be considered as proprietary because they're too bogus. Yeah, when I worked at Yelp, we tried to license some software using unlicensed, which is much more popular now, but our legal department was not okay with us using this license. Mostly because it's just like, I mean, at the time it was very new, and it didn't really have any legal precedence, and so our legal team was like, yeah, you should just pick MIT instead and do it like anyone else would. Even things like unlicensed are, yes, not as robust, which is unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? Creative Commons, okay. This one doesn't seem to have any substitution fields. Creative Commons, another Creative Commons. Also doesn't have any substitution fields. So that one's fine. Another Creative Commons. No copyright here either. Any thoughts about why Linus Torvalds insists to use GPL v2 instead of GPL v3? So, yeah, this one, GPL v2 versus GPL v3. So I think the, if I remember right, GPL v3 is a little bit more permissive. It doesn't have the same sort of, like, how they refer to it, like the viral licensing. Like, if you link against GPL v2 code, you have to release your code as GPL v2, which is, I think it's stupid. Like, it forces everyone to make free software, but I think it, like, I would never release software as GPL because it's just kind of, it's just obnoxious. What is the difference? I think the biggest, like, whether or not, like, one is more or less permissive than the other, it would be really hard to relicense something like the Linux kernel under a new license because there's so many contributors to it, and generally when you change a license, you kind of need all of the contributors to agree unanimously. And I'm sure there's, like, people that have contributed, like, not to be morbid, but I'm sure there's people that have contributed that are dead now, and, like, you'd have to track down their errors or whatever. I don't even know. Like, is copyright inherited? No. I'm not a lawyer, so please take everything that I say about licenses with a grain of salt, because I have no legal training. I don't know what I'm talking about. But if I remember right, the difference came down to something like people being able to reuse the software and like make patents on it or something. I don't know, but Linus is kind of he's a little crazy. He if he could use as free software, I guess he's not as crazy as RMS, but like where's the like TLDR? Here's a short list. Internationalization. Okay, cool. Patents. They explicitly address patents. Oh, this is the difference. Yeah, I remember this. He is, yeah. They address the restrictions like TiVos in consumer products that take away through hardware the ability to modify the software. The last license looked interesting was PPL. Let me look at that one. Beer production license is an example of the copy fair type of license, which I don't know what that is, and click through and we'll get to that in a bit. I'll make this bigger. In which only other commoners, cooperatives, and non-profits can share and reuse the material, but not commercial entities intent on making profit through the commons without explicit reciprocity. Oh, so it's like Creative Commons, but emphasis on freeness, I guess? Even that, like, I don't know. I think, like, in my opinion, if software is free, people should be able to do whatever they want, like, integrate it with things that make money and, like, not really pay back. Like, I would hope people have ethics and, like, contribute back if they can, but I don't know. I don't want to require people to like make all of their things free just because I want my software to be free. But I realize this is a contentious topic, and maybe maybe people don't agree with that. But like, this is kind of the reason like I release all my stuff as MIT and like don't really care about it, including rename, close it, and sell it. Like I would hope people don't do that, but I don't care what they do. I'd be a little mad if they just like straight up ripped off the software and gave it a new name and sold it. Like I'd feel bad about it, and like deep down I feel like that's wrong, but I don't think it's the position of the software license to protect that. I don't know. Forks pre-commit and renames it. You would not be the first. Other people have already done that, and fortunately, like at least one of them, I worked with them, and we were able to take their fork and reintegrate the parts that were useful. Are you interested in joining the DevRant community? I am not familiar with the DevRant community. Let's share their stories. Oh boy. Yeah, this sounds great. This sounds like stuff that I would eat up all the time. I'm gonna keep myself a bookmark of this and check this out later. This sounds fun. This sounds like something I would do. Thank you, WoWo Tech, for following. Every follow counts. Try and read one of the stories. Alright, we'll read one of them. We'll read the top one. Is it long? How long is it? Okay, this one's short. Cool. A young guy I work with burst into tears today. I had no idea what happened, so I tried to comfort him and ask what was up. It appears his main client had gone nuts with him because they wanted him to make an internet toolbar, like think Ask.com, and he politely informed them toolbars don't really exist anymore, and it wouldn't work on things like modern browsers or mobile devices. Ooh. Being given a polite but honest opinion was obviously something the client wasn't used to, and knowing the guy was a young and fairly inexperienced person, there's some grammar errors in this, but that's fine, they started throwing very personal insults and asking him exactly what he knows about things, a lot more than them. So being the big, bold, handsome senior developer I am, I immediately phoned the client back and told them to either come speak to me face to face and apologize to him in person, or we terminate their contract with immediate effect. They're coming down tomorrow. So part my rant and part a rant on behalf of a young developer who did nothing wrong and was treated like shit. I think we've all been there. We'll see how this goes. Who the hell wants a toolbar anyway? Yeah, these sound pretty good. Big, bold, handsome senior dev. Yeah. Oh, that's great. But yeah, I feel like... Oh, I have a lot of these. I also have a lot of, like, stories of things that went wrong. Which, I don't know if they really... I guess there's a stories. Let's see, is this short enough? Go away. Yeah, I don't want your stickers. Okay, this is short enough. We'll read this one. How to avoid working for a bad company. Bittersweet. The quality of the coffee and toilet paper you encounter during an interview tells you more than promises about table tennis or fruit baskets. This is pretty true. Yeah, this is whew, spicy, yes. Try to determine who their primary client is. Subscribers, app buyers, advertisers, etc. It's a major influence on the company dynamic. Also pretty true. Before an interview, you can just say, I would like to sit down with the P0 and run through one backlog feature and one bug to get a feel for the type of task for the company. Such an activity immediately reveals team structure, whether they have product owners and scrum masters, what a sprint looks like, and how they prioritize tasks, and how organized/chaotic your work experience will be. Yep. Not really a story, but good advice. But yeah, this seems like something that I'd be super down with. Sounds great. But I'll check that out later. Thanks for the link. Back to looking through more copyright. Or more licenses looking for copyrights. To apply the educational community license, attach the following boilerplate notice. So it looks like we'll be able to map this field or this line as well. Do I have any experience with WebRTC? Is that the new JavaScript WebSocket stuff? I think I wrote like a tiny app with this. The open project, real-time communications via simple APIs. Yeah, I did very right when it came out for Chrome. It's in like 2017. I did like a tiny hackathon project. Unfortunately, it was like lost to closed source. The idea, or like the crappy idea that we were doing, was to make like a tiny chat app. I haven't done anything with it since. It seems like a pretty cool protocol. And it was pretty easy for us to get started. It was super buggy when we were using it though. But I haven't... I was originally a JavaScript developer, but I haven't really done much JavaScript in quite a long time now. I started as a JavaScript developer when I was hired at Yelp in 2012, and then I transitioned to more of a like back-end feature developer, and then I moved from there to do web frameworks and infrastructure, as well as developer tooling, and I've mostly been doing infrastructure and developer tooling since then, because I like doing that more than feature development. But yeah, I've done a little bit of WebRTC, but not recently. Why do you ask? This one will be covered by my regex, so we'll be okay with that. It'll grab this text off. It's unfortunate. Where would I start learning more about this? That's a good question. Usually when I want to learn something, I'll start with like a project in mind, and then like just like try stuff until it works. The biggest thing for me is finding examples of other code that does what or like similar to what I want to do. I think when we did this, I think we just started by Googling like for samples and finding some apps that had used it. Warning, if you're not using headphones, pressing play will cause feedback. Okay. Do I want to allow this? Sure, why not? Well, show me on stream twice, I guess. Unless it's broken. I think it's broken. That's not what I wanted. Oh, it doesn't work in... Oh, it says using video device, open camera. Audio false, video true. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see any video here, so clearly it's buggy. But yeah, like, find some samples online that do stuff similar to you and copy their code. Or search for questions on Stack Overflow and copy their code. That's honestly the best way to learn, is find someone else who did it and tweak their code until it works for your use case. And that's how I learned how to program, and probably still how I learn how to do stuff. Copy paste from Stack Overflow, yeah. I mean, it's a legitimate way to write code. Close some of these tabs. Oh, I still want that one in case I have to explain again. So yeah, what I was saying before is like our regex will replace this, and unfortunately it chomps some of these words off this line, but I think that's fine. It'll normalize to the same thing on both sides. It would really only be a problem if the license were all on one line, which hopefully we don't find any of those in the next 23 licenses. I guess I can just search for these for brackets, because that's how choose a license puts substitutions in here. So not there. Oh, what was that one? There was one that looked like a copyright. Is this one? I guess we don't want to strip this. Not sure. Why are you making noise? I have like one spinning drive in my computer, but I don't really use it or write code to it, but right now it has spun up for some reason. So my desk is vibrating. I don't know why, but what are you gonna do, I guess? This is more GPL. I don't know that it contains a copyright here. Oh, here we go. To do so, the copyright line. And a pointer to where the full notice is found. So this line will get stripped by this. That's fine. If the program is interactive, make it output a short notice like this. Milmo version 69. Well, we're super mature, I guess. Fine. Yo-yo dying. So this will get substituted just fine. Oh, there was a copyright in the last one, but I think it was just static like this. So this is MIT, so that's cool. This will get substituted out just as before. Same with this one. Fortunately, our / is covering that. But I suspect that we'll probably be fine for the rest of these. Just the word copyright seems to be enough to find the copyright. Oh, the zlib license though, mixing it up on us. So it looks like we'll have to strip this one as well. It's the very last license we look at. Why do they have to be different? zlib, why would you do this? World may never know. Okay, so I'm gonna make a normalized license function. And the first pass, and how do I do this and not? So I'm thinking like, how do I make this efficient? Because, and maybe I don't care to make it efficient, but in order to properly do this, I have to normalize each of my licenses in this vendor file. So each of these are going to get normalized too. How do I do it? Levenshtein distance? Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do for 4. That's my guess here. But the first thing that I'm going to do here is just like replace out the white space, remove the copyright, and see if they're exactly textually equal. If they are, then we know that that's our winner. SPDX text in licenses. If normalize equals normalize license, return SPDX. This might be enough to already pass our test. Oh, actually, I didn't implement normalized license. So we have a white space regex and a copyright regex. Is that how re.sub works? I can never remember the order because it's different. No, it is not. So the replacement goes first and the string goes second. So my initial guess was wrong. So let's try that so far. Oh, I can use breakpoint. I should use breakpoint. Also, sorry if my voice is a little bit different than normal. I super lost my voice last night at karaoke. RE is not defined. So that's why I might sound a little bit different. I basically couldn't talk this morning. It's improved a bit since then, so that's good. Okay, so it looks like we replaced all the white space. We probably want to also strip the beginning and end. But it's taken all the new lines and turned them into just a single space, which is good. And it's removed the copyright. That's what we want as well. Okay, so that looks good. But it's still returning none. And that's probably because... It's probably because MIT actually has a header that, for whatever reason, I haven't included in any of my licenses. Breakpoint. Point. So this is the text of the MIT license, and my projects, for whatever reason, don't have this at the beginning. But that's fine. Normalize. What's the function called? Oh. What the? Why didn't this get replaced out? That seems wrong. Okay, so the copyright regex is not matching at all. That's a problem. More regexes, more problems. Oh, maybe it's because this is gonna only match the beginning of the string. Strip all emoji / Unicode. Yeah, I'll probably have to do that too. So I really want to match the beginning of the line and not the beginning of the string. Matches the empty string, but only the beginning and the end of the word. Multi-line. When specify the character caret matches at the beginning of the string and at the beginning of each line. Okay, so that's what I actually want. What else does this change though? And the character $sign matches the end of the string and at the end of each line, immediately before the new line. By default, that. Cool. So I will use that instead. Case insensitive and multi-line. Okay, cool. So now it removed the copyright line like we wanted. So that's good. Yeah, so one just pasted this in, which is essentially replace out all non-ASCII characters. Expected string or bytes like object. Do I have... Oh, I guess I have string imported. Okay, anyway, that's how I would do that. I don't know that I need to do that, but If it's a problem, then it'll be a problem. But I think I'll leave the Unicode in for now. Because it would remove stuff like the curly quotes, which, oh, actually, now that I think about it, I probably want to normalize curly quotes. I'll think about that. It's a good point, though. I didn't put too much thought to it. But for now, I want to get this matching. Alright, so... edit distance Levenstein? Like a Wikipedia to show me how to write the code for this. Computing Levenstein distance, recursive. This is a straightforward but inefficient recursive. Well, I don't want that. I want efficient. Oh boy. We'll just look on IPI. Python extension, blah blah blah. Oh great, it's a fork. Starting off strong here, I guess. Fixed for Python 3. Oh, it's C. I want something pure Python that I can copy paste. Is this like mostly docstring and holy. Well, I don't really want to add a dependency on 6,900 lines of C. Thank you very much. Edit distance. This sounds simpler. It's also a C project. On Nim, it's standard lib, yeah. Doesn't surprise. It probably should be in Python also. Python. Edit distance, pure Python. PyLiv, a pure Python. That's not freaking GPL. What license did they pick? I don't know this license. And what is your license? Tell me. BSD, some type of BSD. That's right, works in Python 3. Neat. What are the bugs? License is not the PyPI source, missing a tag. I don't care. Pull requests. Cert is not a function. That looks good to me. Ship it. New BSD. I don't know what that is. Classic Levenstein. Useful for learning, less so otherwise. Fine. Wagner Fisher. Which is the best one? Which of these do I want to use? Oh, apparently this one. Oh, this is great. Backward compatibility because I misspelled. We benchmarked Nim versus Cython for edit distance. Nim won as a Python module. Nice. That doesn't surprise. Cool. Sounds great. But I don't really care so much about speed here, so I'm just gonna make this a dependency or make it an optional dependency, I guess. Extra How does this work? I think it's license pilot? Something like that? Or I could just vendor this thing. No setup.cfg. Yeah, see, I want to finish the setup.cfg formatter before I change everything over. Which is why I'm working on this thing. Yeah, it's all a giant rabbit hole. But yeah. There are extras for talks? Talks extras. Extras. That's what I thought it was. It's so funny that they typoed. Damn, that's really slow. Why is it so slow? Maybe I'll use one of the faster ones, but holy crap, that's so slow. I didn't want to. But it's like less than 1% different. That's annoying. Oh, this is the slow one. Is it? That's so slow. Okay, let me... Maybe we won't use this library. Find one of the faster ones. I can't spell it either. Levenstein? There we go. Search through documents for approximately matching strings. Then 2.2 or newer is required. Alright, so we'll check if this... So this just has a source distribution, so we probably don't want to use that one. This one doesn't say anything, but it does have wheels. Let's see what their project looks like. Last commit was last year. Hopefully that means that they're... Segfault when using Unicode strings. Well... guess we're not using that one. Weighted Levenstein. Those are not very flexible. All edit operations have cost 1. I don't want NumPy. Does this require NumPy? Please no, please no. I need a tool that scans my repos and tells me repos that have greater than 1 year since the last commit to master. Well, search no further. So all repos can do this. We can start with all repos, list repos. And then a little bit of xargs. log one format. Let's see, git log and get log. Where's the like format? Pretty formats. There we go. That's not what I want either. Where's the substitution things? Okay, here we go. So I want like ISO 8601 date. Author date? I think I want commit date. So CI? Is that what I want? Yeah. CI. Format equals %CI. We'll also include the repository name in the output. So this will show me all of the repositories that I have access to, except for, well, some of them are going to crash. And then we can sort that. So we can see this one hasn't seen a commit since 2016. These haven't seen commits since 2017. But these ones all saw a commit at basically the same time at 1 in the morning. Yeah, I mean, All Repos has a bunch of tools that you can combine together to do stuff like this. But let me give you a paste bin of the command I came up with. Fluffy. Yeah, like on the tin, All Repos talks about doing refactors, but it's also a good search tool or like investigation tool or like all sorts of other stuff. But you can see here like what my most recent projects that I've been working on are, which is pretty cool. Weird that this one got committed in wait, it was -5. Oh, I guess I worked on these while I was in Michigan, maybe? While I was at home? Well, home. Parents' home. And these ones must have been during daylight savings time or whatever. I don't know why the timestamp is different here. Oh, that might have been the other maintainer created this repo. That makes sense. But anyway, yeah, there's a command that does exactly what you wanted. And you could even like combine that command with like grep 2016 or like 2017 and print out, that's the time zone, 5? No, 4. Combine that with All Repos manual to make a commit to them. Oh, you know, just committing so it isn't dead, and then use repos. Shit. Yeah, and so then it'll put me into this directory, and I could already start modifying code here. But just kind of a thing to show you how it works. Is there like a way to quit? I forget if there's. I don't think there's a way to quit. But anyway, and now I lost that command. But like, you can combine a lot of the All Repos tools to do a bunch of different things. But yeah, I still need to find Levenstein. PyGuy Levenstein Many Linux. Many Linux. Someone opened in 2016 and nothing. I know how to do this, and we'll do it soon. 2016. Lies. String dist. All Python versions greater than 3.3. Well, shoot. Why wouldn't you make it work in Python 2? I don't know. Probably fair that they didn't. Does it maybe work in Python 2? They just haven't reported that it does? They don't have many Linux either. It's annoying. Quite annoying. Make sure you have Python installed. Why do these all suck? Python C edit distance. Newer version available. Why would you link me to the old one? Okay, this one seems promising. I guess we'll use this one. Hopefully this one is less crap. Oh, I didn't need to RMRF. I forgot that this uses vmv update. I could have just reran. How do I use this library? Edit distance.eval. Did you really have to pick a... Can they pick a different name? That's gonna trip some linter. Don't use eval! Eval is the worst. It's annoying. Annoying. That's a way faster. Okay, I'm okay with that. How do I want to do this? Like, I think I need to compute it for all of them. I guess I could do it in this loop. Yeah, that way I don't have to normalize more than once. Okay, so I accidentally am going to make this efficient. Cool. License. And then I can insert it into a sorted array. Yeah. Insort left. Bisect.insert. Right or left? I don't think it actually matters here. AX. A. Insert X into A. I don't need to keep track of all of them. I just need to keep track of the minimum one. Yeah. Min edit distance. Yeah, so I just need to keep track of the minimum one. If edit dist is less than min edit dist. So I'll leave this comment here, so if they install identify without the extra, then this will show up in the stack trace. It's a little bit sneaky, but we don't want to import this at the top because it's not always dependent on. This is so annoying that they picked eval as a function. Ugh. See if anyone else has complained about this as well.
Maybe I'll be a melody with your eyes like fire and your lips like gravity.
Consider exposing an API that's not called eval. It's not uncommon for security/linting tools to complain about the use of a function named eval. Could you expose another name that's identical to the function, to the eval function? I could import it like that, but it's still like the text eval is still going to be in my code. Yeah, like I could do from edit distance import eval as dist. I could do that, but like the linter is still going to highlight this probably. I don't know. I don't know. Stupid issue. But whatever. I don't actually care because I don't use Bandit, so it's not gonna throw this off here. All right. So if we didn't find any here, if min edit distance, let's see. Min edit distance divided by the length of the normalize is less than 5%. Then we'll return the min edit dist ID. I think that implements it, basically. Define name sys. Can't spell. Okay, I think that fits the efficiency that I wanted. Oh my god, that function is so slow. Why is it so slow? I guess this function is probably pretty slow for stuff that's like not at all the same. Maybe? I guess I could try it. That's not that slow. It's like hilariously slow. I guess there's some shortcuts I can take, like if the length of the license is different by a certain amount, I know I can just skip it immediately. So that might be able to speed it up. Absolute value of the difference of those two divided by the length of the license. Normalized is long. We'll just replace that with the word norm. If that is greater than 0.05, that makes it faster. I didn't expect this function to be so slow. Okay, that makes it way faster. Super fast. This one, which used to take forever, now also super fast. Okay, that's a pretty good optimization. Oh, I could use multiprocessing or thread pools. Yeah, I guess. Seems overkill. This length optimization is a pretty good one though. So happy with that. So now I just need to make some tests to hit these other cases, I guess. check dev null. 213, 229. I think this will actually cover those other 2 lines. Zero division. Right. I guess it was good to test dev null. I didn't even think about zero division as being a thing. Might as well from future import division, I guess, now that I think about it. Get rid of this. Norm and so that stops the zero division. Okay, so I guess I should also test a... Wait, what did we not hit? 214. Oh, we didn't test an exact match. Alright, what's our shortest license? Identify that vendor. Min. Let's see. Len of text. You called it one. WTFPL is the shortest. And it'll live on in the test for forever. Why is this aligned so weird? Whatever. This is not how you do that. That should get us our exact match case. You can patent GPL. Can you now? Can you patent GPL v3? Is that what the... Can you patent GPL v3? Can you patent an idea? I'm not a lawyer. My interpretation of this document is not legal advice. Disclaimer, disclaimer. Patents and GPL v3. Oh, I don't want to read this. Never mind. I'm never gonna know. That's fine. TLDR legal. This sounds like my kind of website. Cannot sublicense or hold liable. Can use in commercial and no information on TLDR legal is legal advice. Pretty good. See. I see. Okay, but I think I implemented what I wanted. I should probably document it in the README. Have I used PIL? Yes, I have. Well, technically Pillow. I guess I used PIL before Pillow existed. I gotta remember when I just type things into Google that I need the word Python. But yeah, I've used Pillow, which is the actually maintained version of PIL. Works pretty well. What did I use it for? One of my intern projects when I was at Yelp. I don't think my intern project exists anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, at least not there. What's some like middle of nowhere? Well, not middle of nowhere. Is this a thing? Pizza? Just Miami? Yeah, they rewrote this page. The original version of this page used to have, maybe I think we did a blog post about it. Yelp blog category page. Yelp engineering blog. It would have been in 2012. Yelp category page. Anyway, what I want to talk about, I made this thing. I have screenshots of it somewhere, but the idea was to take business photos and lay them out in like a mosaic grid, which meant that like you would have different sized photos and like kind of like the way the layout worked. I'll open up some MS Paint and show you guys what it looked like. So you had like best pizza in San Francisco. I'm not a designer, so it's gonna look like crap, but whatever. This was basically what the title looked like, and then below it there was a mosaic outline of some business photos, and so there was like one big business photo, there was one vertical business photo, and then there were two photos that looked like this. And in order to fit business photos in these, you had to both know the dimensions, and we needed a bunch of different new resizes of the images in order to fit those dimensions. And so the first thing that I had to do, we didn't actually know the size of any of the business photos on Yelp. And so I wrote this crazy batch that basically downloaded every photo Yelp ever had and figured out the size of them, and then stored that, or like wrote a log file, and then we backfilled that into a database. And the first version of the batch, we started running it without really knowing how long it was going to take or how many machines or whatever, and it was really slow. It was essentially a serial batch over the photo IDs, and the original prediction was that it was going to take like 3 months to run with the current code that I had written for that. And so what we did, we abused the hell out of MapReduce in order to basically parallelize and scale machines to solve the job faster. MapReduce didn't really apply to the problem that well, but it was a useful tool to basically distribute the work. So it was kind of a hack, but we threw MapReduce at the problem, and we ended up solving it in like a week. It cost a shit ton of money to do, but I don't know, we got it done. I was able to ship the project. But that was one of my last uses of PIL. I also took that same project, and we needed more business photo sizes for a rewrite of a page, and so I basically adapted my find the size job to also resize photos, and so we used that job again. I wanted to make an image fuzzer with it for fuzzing web engines. Some people make CAPTCHA bypass with PIL. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, you can do some OCR stuff with it. Turns out a lot of CAPTCHAs nowadays are pretty dumb, unfortunately. And so, like, you can bypass them with enough computing power. Although it's much cheaper to just, like, pay a human to click on the right things. For my web framework, I wrote a lib for WebP and used that to reduce images. It's like 45% of JPEG. Yeah, WebP is pretty cool technology. Usage as a CLI, how it works. Identifying license files. Identify also has an API for determining what type of license is contained in a file. This routine is roughly based on the approaches used by licensee, RubyGem that GitHub uses to got the license for repo. You add a link to that. This one. The approach that Identify uses is as follows. Strip the copyright information. Strip the copyright line. Normalize all white space. Return any exact matches. Return the closest by edit distance where edit distance is less than 5%. That's it. To use the API, install via pip install identify license. The return value of the license ID function is an, was it SPDX? I forget already. Is an, yes, SPDX ID. Currently, licenses are sourced from chooselicense.com. Can you license a license? I wonder. I think that's all to really talk about here. Add license ID for identifying license files. I guess I should make sure it works in Python 2.7 because I didn't check that. I hope I still have screenshots of that somewhere. Let's see if I can find them. Of the Yelp page. Photos? No. Documents? No. Here's my backups. In 2012 it would have been. No, not there. Widget screenshots. No, it's not that. In 2011. Yelp employment. What is this? What is this file? Oh, it's just the contract I signed. I can't find it. Anyway, it's not important. But yeah, that's that. And now we'll make a pull request from this. Oh, just to show you this little trick here. I mentioned it earlier, but I want to demonstrate it and make sure that it's still that it does what I said it would do. Install dot. That won't install edit distance because we didn't specify the license part. From identify license ID. So if I call license ID on license, I should get a stack trace. And it in fact includes my comment, so that's exactly what I wanted it to do. Oh, I should have. Let's see. Hello, is there any special reason why you use Oracle VM VirtualBox over VMware Workstation Player? Thank you. No good reason. The only reason I have is I've always used VirtualBox and I know how to set it up. I've never tried VMware. Was VMware always free? I think I looked into it once and no, stop it, Google. I think I looked into using VMware once, but it cost money last time I tried. But if it's free now, then no reason not to try it, I guess. What is it called? VMware Workstation Player. Free product downloads, I guess any of those. I don't know. I haven't tried VMware, so maybe I'll try it. But yeah, I don't have a good reason other than like VirtualBox works, and so I continue to use it. VMware Workstation is the paid one. I see. Travis CI is shutting down. Ex-employees say, yes, I have seen that. It doesn't surprise me at all. I talked about this a little bit last stream, but was it Idera? Idera is kind of one of those companies where they buy stuff and it either dies or becomes a paid service. So it doesn't surprise me at all that Travis CI is going to suffer from that acquisition. Workstation Pro is the best. If you can use BitTorrent, grab it from there. Yeah. I'd probably just pay for it. But yeah, I'm pretty concerned about Travis CI. I use it on all of my projects. One of the things that I'm gonna look into tomorrow on part of my stream is alternatives. The big one that I'm going to be looking into is Azure Pipelines, formerly known as Visual Studio Team Services, which is the offering from Microsoft. Seems like a pretty solid product, and like we use it on Talks to do the testing there. So I'll probably just like crib some examples from there. I might also look into GitLab CI, and if I ever get whitelisted for GitHub Actions, I'll look at that as well. But I haven't been whitelisted yet, unfortunately. I've used Circle CI in the past. It worked alright. It was kind of annoying, but it worked alright. Have I seen this link? No, I have not. What is this? Is this a builder tool? CI not attached to any particular service/vendor. Interesting. Yeah, but I'm gonna look into CI solutions this weekend probably, because I'm pretty concerned about not being able to test stuff in Travis CI. And fuck you, Idera. Travis CI joins the Idera family, and then we lay off the best employees. Ha ha ha. It's unfortunate. No. We'll update this doc string, and then I'll push, and then make the PR. Wait, did I push to origin before, or did I do it right? Oh, I did it right. Okay, cool. Oops. Oh no, what have I done? I typed in a tab on the other screen. So I have this. So sometimes when you push to origin, GitHub will tell you a URL to make a pull request. Sometimes it doesn't though, and so I have this helper called GitHub Compare, which will give me a link that allows me to generate a PR. Pretty useful. It's in my Scratch repository. Make my own container. Yeah. Oof. I know how complicated Docker is, so I'm not sure. It seems like a lot of work. Yeah, let me glance over this PR and make sure it looks alright. Zero deletions, so we can just look at this what is it called? This column. So we excluded this file from Flake8 because the lines were too long. Fine. Make sure this reads right. Identify also has an API for determining what type of license is contained in a file. The routine is roughly based on the approaches used by a licensee, the Ruby gem that GitHub uses to figure out the license for a repo. The approach that Identify uses is as follows. 1. Strip the copyright line. 2. Normalize all white space. 3. Return any exact matches. And 4. Return the closest by edit distance where that is less than 5%. Use the API, install via pip install Identify license. And then there's a short example here. The return value of the license ID function is an SPDX ID. Currently, licenses are sourced from chooselicense.com. Cool. Make your own containers, search Linux namespaces. You need to be good in C. Yeah, I've written a lot of C. Like, I wouldn't have trouble writing one. It's just, I don't know why I would. I don't think I would have fun doing it, I guess. So I edited this file to update the licenses. Some real sick codegen here. And then the implementation is basically a copyright regex and a whitespace regex, which we normalize and then strip. And the rest of this seems fine. It might make sense to return none if it's not UTF-8, but I'll just wait for that to be a problem. Or if it comes up in review. That's good. GitHub realized that this is a vendored file, so it's not showing that. Ubuntu's new release is 18.04.2. It was released a few days ago. I thought you would want to know since you're using Ubuntu. Interesting. LSB release -a. Looks like I am already running 18.04.2, so I did it. I don't actually remember upgrading, so I must have done it while working on something, maybe? Upgradable. Looks like I can still upgrade a couple other packages as well. I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, GG. Let's see, LSP release. Cache show base files. So I must have updated base files recently. I use Arch because I'm too lazy to reinstall / upgrade. Yeah, but you constantly have to reinstall / upgrade because that's how Arch works, right? Yeah, I used Arch once and then I broke everything and then I was like, nah, I'll deal with more stability. I think it's funny that we used the WTFPL as the test license. That looks good. Hopefully Chris thinks it looks good as well. I'll ping him later and see what he has to say about it. But yeah, that was all I had planned for this stream. And since it's been 2.5 hours, I think this is probably a good place to stop. Thank you guys all for stopping by, and I guess I have to do the outro part, right? So I'll be streaming tomorrow around 1 p.m. Pacific time, so if you guys want to stop by, that's when that'll happen. I announce all my streams on Twitter, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's twitter.com/codewithanthony. It's different than my Twitch handle. So much for brand synonymity. That's a word, right? If you missed any part of the stream, you can catch the replays of the stream on YouTube. My YouTube channel is the same as my Twitch channel, so it's youtube.com/AnthonyWritesCode. And I usually try and upload those either the night of or the next day of the stream. And oh hey, I have a new subscriber, cool. But yeah, I upload those to YouTube, so if you want to go back and watch them later, or if you missed any part of them, that's where they'll be. Some of them I try and annotate, like when interesting things happened. So like this last stream, I mostly worked on one project, but like towards the end I also did some stuff where like I talked about my pro tips, I gave some tips for new hires, we talked about ln-s, you know, typical programming stuff. But that's that. hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and hope you have a good rest of your night, or evening, or day, or whatever time it is for you. It's nighttime for me, so I'm gonna go watch some YouTube and then go to bed. But thank you all for stopping by, and have a good one.